what would you want so much that you would defy death like Strahd to either achieve it or possess it?
Let's roll. I got a 13.
I got a 13.
Oh,
Roll off, Dan.
I got a 15.
I got an 8.
I got a 2.
Okay.
All right,
Terry,
you're up.
What do I want so much that I would defy death? It just seems so lonely and awful. I think, I don't know, I don't know if I want anything that much. I don't know if that's a shit answer, Dan. Am I allowed to say that?
I mean, yeah, you're allowed to say that.
What's yours, whoever's going next?
For me, my family, man.
Yeah, I guess.
It's the one thing keeping me going.
Yeah.
During COVID, during all that other stuff, all the other shit going on in the world right now, my family.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad that I didn't say that.
Season 2 of Firefly.
No.
Yeah, fair. No, I rescind my answer. Fuck my family. I want season 2 of Firefly.
Is season 1 good?
Yes.
Oh, God, Terry.
Welcome to It's a Mimic with your DMs, Adam, Dan, and Terry.
Welcome to another episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, the roundtable Dungeons & Dragons discussion where you never know what you're going to get. I am Terry, and with me are Dan and Adam, and today we are talking about Barovia.
Barovia.
What accent was that I used there, Dan? I don't know.
Dan won't know either.
Whatever
Jamaican?
I think
They all just end up Jamaican to me anyway, so.
Whatever I think it was, I'm sure it wasn't. Okay. Well, for those of you out there that are not familiar with Barovia, I'll spend the time during topic 1 to talk to you a little bit about Barovia, where it comes from, who's in there, some key players, and the general themes and mood. But first of all, before we dive into that, right off the bat, are you two general fans of Barovia? Are you excited to be discussing Barovia? Or is this one of those podcasts where you got to pretend you like it like druids?
Dan?
I'm getting put on the hot seat here, hey?
Yeah. Did you say Nazi?
The hot seat.
I swear,
the
it's every
hot
podcast.
seat.
Every podcast.
You hear
Dan
what
has-
you want to hear, Terry. No, the blonde hair, blue eye Terry. To be completely honest, Barovia bores me.
Shut up with
Well,
your...
we're going to try to change your mind then.
Yeah, we're gonna have to try to change my mind, like we did on some of the druids. I'm more welcoming to some of the ideas of druids now, but
Would you say that your opinion is a little bit more druid?
no, that was a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, I it's gloom for the sake of gloom, but it's not horror. It's just depression. It's not horror. It's just depression.
Well, Dan doesn't like the fucking Shadowfell in the first place.
Okay.
I don't like the Shadowfell in the first place.
Well,
so if you want to have gloom, depression, anxiety, all that other stuff in your campaign
Just
setting,
come to Dan's basement.
Yeah, which is where we sit for hours a week. I
have a
wanna hear for about
15-minute
3 hours.
conversation with me about my life. So yeah,
Dan.
Jesus, that got dark quickly.
Well,
Adam.
No, I like Barovia. I really do. I like the fact that it is a small, contained setting where there are definitive players that you can dick around with, and you can play it over and over and over again, and it'll be different every single time.
Correct.
I've never heard of any two Strahd campaigns that are exactly the same, because Barovia itself is rich with opportunity.
Yeah, and I think, I know we're going to talk about Barovia as a whole, but the Curse of Strahd campaign is railroady enough, but also sandboxy enough that you can go off the fucking rails, but at least you'll stay generally with it. Strahd will still be involved, is what I mean. Whatever happens, though. Okay, but let's talk about Barovia as a whole. So the Valley of Barovia is the oldest and best known of the Domains of Dread that I don't know too much about. I don't know if you guys have
The Domains of Dread, as far as I understand, are just these pocket dimensions, these demi-planes that exist just off of the Shadowfell.
Right, okay. So and Barovia was originally a location in the Forgotten World of the Prime Material Plane, and the entire valley was transported to the Shadowfell by mists controlled by evil entities known as the Dark Powers.
Which I like, because they are so poorly defined in all D&D lore.
Right.
There's just nothing but it's like, the powers that be.
And the realm is quite famously known as a prison for the Dark Lord of the Vampire Strahd von Zarovic. I like to say it. I know we like our Vich type words in North America.
No, it's Dan's going to struggle through every pronunciation.
There is a bunch of pronunciations in the Curse of Strahd book and in Barovia as a whole that I am just bad.
He used to call it Barovia.
I still struggle. Is it Valaki?
Hey,
It's Valakai.
Valakai.
I think it's Valakai, but I listened to a Dice Camera Action with Chris Perkins. I've told you two guys this, and I heard him say it 3 different ways. So
yeah.
if Perkins doesn't know, none of us do. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about the geography then. So almost the entire valley consists of densely forested, rough terrain with sheer cliffs and outcroppings. The few areas are easily traversable, and it's always dangerous to stay off the road. Winters are usually very long and bitter in Barovia. The sky of Barovia is permanently overcast with storm clouds. Even during the brightest hours of the day, light is unnaturally muted and dimmed and does not affect normally sensitive creatures such as vampires. In many locations, the mists partially or completely obscure vision.
But this is just fucking London, right? Like,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it is Brothers Grimm fable fairy tale feel
And
to
you
it.
don't like that? I like that.
Brothers Grimm leans heavy into the horror.
Right.
This fell flat in that regard.
That might have simply been your version of it because there was a lot of horror in it when we ran through it.
Yeah, I know later on we'll talk about different ways to run campaigns.
And
in
I
Barovia.
still have nightmares about how Pepperina ran through Barovia, so...
Well, that's a different reason entirely.
This is why I like that joke. A lot of different variables in the world had to happen for Adam to be able to make that joke. And if you know the campaign we're talking about, it's on the internet. So
we're sorry. Please get back to therapy. We've triggered you.
Much of the lower hill forests throughout Barovia are made up of hardwood trees such as beech, cherry, hazel, and oak, if you're interested in the trees in Barovia.
I am.
But higher elevations, the predominant trees were evergreens such as fir, pine, and spruce. I went very into detail.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm kind of upset that you're laughing through it, but like the higher trees are the soft trees, the lower trees are the hard trees. That makes no sense.
Okay. Barovia is ruled by Strahd.
Dan's used to lumbering through the woods.
Who's known by the general population as the Devil Strahd. Most inhabitants are aware of Strahd as being a vampire. His ruling style is that he's mostly through proxy, as he's made very few public appearances, and the duties of tax collection and law enforcement and those types of general rulings are usually done by the village burgomasters, which you'll see featured in the Curse of Strahd campaign, or other minions that he has. However, Strahd is...
Hold on. I gotta pause you. This is refreshing. And it's refreshing for a couple of reasons here. One, I just like that there's a politician that's not full of himself. There's no ego at play there.
No.
Like, look at me with my grand speeches and shit. That's not Strahd.
Yeah, there's no ego on display. There's plenty of ego behind Strahd.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I think that he's full of himself, but he's not in it for the power. He already has it. He does not need to wield his iron fist over. He's already done it.
Yeah.
Right? He has, I mean, yes, we're going to hit spoiler territory for the Curse of Strahd, and I'm sure I'm jumping ahead on shit, but he killed Argynvost.
Right.
He owns this place. It's named after his mother and father. Right? Like, this is his domain. There's no posturing here. And a lot of times I think people will play, especially a vampire, as posturing and egotistical and whatnot. And I don't think that he's egotistical. I think he's just confident. I think he just knows that he's the best because he has been.
Well, because he's never been challenged, I guess. Right?
And every time he was challenged, he won. He defied death, and he managed to keep everyone in his realm for as long as he wants to do it. Like, he is just... He thinks he's the best because he fucking is.
I love Strahd, personally. But let's touch a little bit on the history then of Barovia. So originally part of the world in the Prime Material Plane, like I said, sometime before the 11th century DR. What you two fucking nerds must know what that means.
Okay, so that's about 400 years ago.
Okay, Barovia was conquered by the then human General Strahd and his army. He was later transported to the Shadowfell, as was the realm of Barovia, by the Dark Powers as a consequence of a pact struck with Strahd to grant him eternal life. The pact involved the murder of his brother Sergei von Zarovic so that Strahd could take Sergei's wife, Tatiana, remember that name, it's important, with whom he had fallen madly in love, of course. The pact inadvertently caused the death of Tatiana and ended up turning Strahd into a vampire and imprisoning him within the realm. It remained the only domain of dread for nearly 2 centuries until other realms started joining in.
I just like the fact that the quote-unquote Dark Lords were like, hey, Strahd, kill your brother, you'll get his wife. Gotcha!
Yeah.
Right? Now you're trapped inside of our realm and you get to be our puppet.
I think, okay, in all honesty, though, it's better than that, right? Like, this is why you think there's no horror in it, but that was him literally tempted by dark powers from beyond his comprehension, and he gave into this is Hellraiser level temptation. He was promised everything that he wanted, and he was probably promised, like, she'll no longer be with your brother. And he'll, oh, okay, yeah, I'm into that. But and then they pull the rug out, you will be doomed for all eternity to live without her.
Right.
Right? Like, that is some nefarious shit going on.
You could make it really dark.
You really could.
I like
so
a good dark campaign. Okay, well, as a player and let's get a rolling dice. As a player and as a DM, I'll let you guys answer both at the same time. Does this interest you at all, Dan?
Okay, let's roll it. I got a natural 1.
I got a 17.
I also got a 17. Let's roll again. Thank you.
I got a 10.
I also got a natural 1.
Okay.
All right, you're
two
up first,
natural
Terry.
ones and a 10. Yeah, as a player, first of all, yeah, it definitely does interest me. All of the tension, the gothic horror, the misery, the gloom, it calls for an incredibly challenging campaign, and I think you can play Curse of Strahd as being very deadly. I think as long as you're prepared for that, it can be very deadly, but you can also enjoy it because it's a lower level campaign. I think by the book it maxes out at level 10.
Are you looking for it?
Yeah.
Dave has it.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
I think it maxes out at level 10. I'm going to pause for a second because I have it in my bag.
11, I believe.
So if you enjoy that type of campaign, which I know, Dan, you don't seem to lean that way too much, phrasing, Terry, it could be great. And I personally love it because I like a lot of gloom and misery and real hard emotion.
As a DM?
As a DM, I love it as well, but for different reasons. It allows time to work on skills that DMs may not be working on. It's a challenging campaign. It's challenging to maintain the tone, to maintain tension, to play with players' emotions, to practice contrast, because it can't all be doom and gloom. You need to put in elements of humor with Strahd in order for the doom and gloom and the horror to be effective.
Yeah.
If it's just like any horror movie, right? If it's just always like that,
yeah,
it's not going to work. But it can be very roleplay heavy and it can be very exploration heavy. But on the flip side, it's a very safe campaign to run due to how restricted it is in location. It's railroady enough that you basically just follow the track from one village to another, branch off right to go to Castle Ravenloft, but it's sandboxy enough that you can actually cover quite a large area. It's like Skyrim. It's like you got to stay in a bit smaller than Skyrim then. A little bit smaller, about 10% of the size of Skyrim.
Yeah, it's significantly
but that
smaller
idea,
than
right?
Skyrim.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, I love the fact that it has physical boundaries. You are not just fucking off down the coast somewhere, right? I like the idea that you can go into the woods and you'll just wander lost, possibly for eternity. And then I would just have them pop up in another part of Barovia.
Like Pac-Man.
Yeah, kind of. Only I wouldn't have it make sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like they step out in the middle of a grove in the middle of a town square somewhere, right? Like, or they're suddenly behind the windmill.
Yeah,
or,
like that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's time and space don't make sense beyond the borders of. And there's a lot of really cool shit. What we're not talking about, what we didn't touch on, is the fact that people don't have fucking souls in here.
Right.
And that is a big, big factor. What does that mean? And the book doesn't even really get into it that deep. It talks about how they act, but what does that mean from like a religious standpoint?
I forget the ratio because it's not everybody. It's either 9 out of 10 don't have souls or 9 out of 10 do have souls. But I forget if it's 10% or 90% don't. But
I think it's 90% don't have souls.
don't have souls.
Because the essence of Barovia, this demi-plane nature saps their souls from them over time.
But then they get visitors, right? Which probably would have souls.
Yes,
so.
right? And it's the people that are coming new that bring the fresh food, the fresh meat for this plane to chew up.
The way that I saw it as well is that when someone dies, the souls are reincarnated because you can never leave Barovia. Which means as more people are born, let's say that you have 2 people that have 3 kids, one of those kids doesn't get a soul when those 2 people die. Right? Like, so there's a finite number of souls in Barovia and more population was how I ran across
I like
it as
that,
well.
yeah. I like that.
So, but you can play it both ways. Like, there are a lot of different ways to play it. Also, the idea that souls get lost in the mists and whatnot as well. When people go for a walk, they just never come back, or they come back different and hollow and upset.
Yeah.
You breathe in the mists too much in the woods, and it saps your life essence from you. There's a lot of cool shit that goes on in Barovia. I gotta say, I like it for the fact that wherever you look, there is another gothic horror trope. And without getting into it too much, because spoilers and whatnot, I mean, the windmill.
Yeah.
Right? The fact everybody knows that.
Fairy tale, right? Yeah.
Yeah, everybody knows that there are werewolves running around, but it's a little bit more in depth than that. We also have the Vistani, who are problematic for a couple of racist reasons, but But they're real. On the halfling episode, I said it would have been really cool if Vistani had been halflings. It thematically fits with them.
Yeah.
With their nomadic way of going about it. And you could have just used halfling culture. And you didn't have to go racist gypsy. Fuck. So anyway, I like so much about it. Like, and it's not just, you only have 3 communities. Mm-hmm. You have a temple here and Argynvost Holt over there and the Castle Ravenloft, but there are 2 towns and a village.
Yeah.
That's what you get to play with. So when your goddamn murder hobos burn down the village, they can't go. There's not another village, guys. You done fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. You're screwed.
Yeah. It's a great place, actually, to teach murder hobos that lesson. I remember when I ran it, it was getting a bit murder hobo-y at one point, and I just simply put wanted posters up, as though that had never happened in D&D before. Why are these people not wanted? And it kind of led into the next little part of the story arc,
Yeah.
But it's very easy as a DM, I think, to regain control, because it's not that big.
When you have that limitation of the outside border and the inability to leave, your ability as a DM to come forward and be like, okay, guys, no, we need to twist this and get you back, for lack of a better turn of phrase, on the tracks, right? To get you back in the narrative is unmatched in the other Wizards products for like that equal this, right?
Yeah,
like,
when you look at Waterdeep, you can get distracted by pimping out your ride, right? Like you could do anything in Dragon Heist.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything in
no.
Barovia,
And like
Strahd.
you can wander the woods aimlessly in Chult forever, but there's no real way for the DM to be like, okay, guys, let's pull you back on track. You're going to lose the amount of things you can pull on to do that within Tomb of Annihilation. And Curse of Strahd is made for a new DM who wants to run a longer term campaign.
Yeah.
Right? Adam, as a player, do you want to play in Curse of Strahd again?
I have a lot. If I'm going to play in Curse of Strahd, I need to play with like-minded people that... I always hear about the people that make... I mean, Megan is playing Rainbow Bright in Curse of Strahd right now. She's dancing around Barovia in one of her other campaigns, and which I, in my head, consider secondary campaigns. Thank you very much. But she's running around as Rainbow Bright. That thematically doesn't fit for...
Right.
And it's fine. She's breaking the mold. She's,
trying new things.
Sure. I want to play the priest and the Holy Knight and the Robin Hood character that come in, like the medieval kind of like you're up against the wall, you're fighting these guys. I don't like the idea of being able to cast Wish.
Yeah.
I don't want people that are like, well, I can see into the future and I know that. No. Don't give me an artificer. Don't give me a druid here even. Like, give me a...
I don't know. I think
give me a fighter.
I think the traditional player's handbook classes all fit in very well. Once you start branching out beyond that to even the options presented in Xanathar's, that's where you get problems.
The subclasses? Yeah, I agree with you. Like, Curse of Strahd really does feel like it's made for the basic player's handbook, which is why you said it before, it's great for a beginner group, right?
100%.
To play an extended campaign. If you have run Minds of Phandelver and then are wondering what to do after you run the starter kit, going into Curse of Strahd is a brilliant idea.
It really is. And you could have a really fun game with the core classes. Don't think, core races, don't think you have to branch out too far from that for it to be good. It's going to be phenomenal. Well, you just mentioned a priest and you got me thinking, I'd love Curse of Strahd where there's 2 players, an old priest and a young priest.
Yeah.
It would be phenomenal.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
And they're sleeping together, lovers. It's... Well, why not? Dan, I'd like to propose something.
Because he's his sugar father. We can't make that joke. They started it. Okay.
Anyways, as a player, I want to play in Barovia again as a player.
He would administer the loot. Is that what?
Gross. I would want to play in Barovia again with a like-minded, serious group that doesn't need the brevity.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I meant. Like, as a player, I want to play it. I want to explore this from a dark perspective. I want to play Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes.
I don't want to play the Buffy movie.
Now, that being said, I think you hit the nail on the head really well, Terry, when you said there needs to be some lightness to the campaign to make the darkness feel
contrast
more dark.
Yeah.
Right? And I agree that for a campaign of people who are serious about playing Curse of Strahd, who want to play intriguing, compelling, thematically appropriate characters, that would be a lot of fun. I would love to do that. Problem is, most of the tables I play at cannot maintain that for very long before it's all dick and fart jokes, right?
I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to run the shit out of this campaign, Dan.
Right, and that's the thing. I would love to have you, Terry, run it because you are very focused on role play, right? And that is something that you do very, very well. And I'm not just talking about Dungeons and Dragons. And I want to do it at a table with Adam because, yeah, I do. No, I want to do it at a table with Adam because Adam is also very, very good at getting into the headspace of a character and propelling an entire group towards a like goal to maintain that atmosphere at the table. Right. Having that kind of idea would be a lot of fun to experience this. I never want to run Barovia. I never want to run Curse of Strahd myself because I don't think I have the chops to do it the justice that I know as a player I would want it to have.
I don't know, man. You handle Call of Cthulhu really well.
Call of Cthulhu is dark, and especially the game I played in where you run it, it was dark.
Well, I would start throwing in my own things, but that's because there's a difference in my mind between the horror of undeath and the horror of the old gods and the alien, right? For some reason or other, I can handle the horror of the alien in my mind far better than I can handle the horror of undeath in narrative storytelling.
You can, okay. As a DM, you can handle it better.
As a DM, I can handle it better.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all about the slow atrophy of eternity. I think that is horrible, and it is. Time is the enemy in reality, and it being able to put that into stark contrast would be amazing.
I am actively planning a campaign that has a hard limit of sessions that is all about entropy, and doing that is hard for my brain. So, like, I keep on having to, like, no, that's a dumb idea, put this in. No, that's a dumb idea, put this in. And, like, I'm looking for, I flip through thesaurus to find out other words for entropy. So, like, it's a challenge for me to do, which is why I wouldn't want to run Barovia.
I have to say, Curse of Strahd aside, would you guys run a campaign in Barovia without Strahd? Would you run a sequel to Curse of Strahd? A homebrew sequel?
I don't know if I'd run it. Maybe a sequel, but I would run either a one-shot or a smaller campaign within Barovia. You can do like level 1, 2, 3 stuff in Barovia. Like you said, Strahd doesn't really show up often unless you're the group that's planning to get to level 10 and goes in and starts fucking shit up. And for some reason lands in Barovia and decides that they're going to try and kill Strahd. If that's not your intention, probably alright.
Yeah, if you want to go fuck around with Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
Right? And that's your campaign for 6 levels. Why not, right?
Exactly. Because you could go down a whole different way. You could focus very much on the witches of Barovia, right? Or the zombies. You don't need to go for the vampires. You could
do an entire campaign about Argynvost.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and an entire level 20 campaign about Argynvost. I think you could make that work. So...
could fight a silver dragon then, couldn't you? Then if you went back in history.
I absolutely love the idea. You guys just sparked this for me. I love the idea of you running a level 1 to 20 homebrew campaign where you touch on the places. You go to Waterdeep, you meet the fucking Mad Mage, you interact with Xanthar, and it's all homebrew, and then your players can be like, that was really cool. We want to do the dragon heist, but no, hold on. We're going to go wander through Barovia first, and we're going to go take over. Someone's going to get bitten by a werewolf. We got to go solve the lycanthropy in Barovia for a little while. Then we end up in Chult, and we're going through, and we fight the ice giants in Chult, and that breaks the ordning. So Storm King's Thunder. And then when you're all done, you say, hey, you guys have gotten a little taste of flavor of absolutely everything.
Right.
Which one do you want to do?
Where are we going? Yeah.
So, here's a Dungeons and Dragons survey class where for the next 6 months, 5 times a week, we're going to be doing this because there's so much that's now out.
But you go into Baldur's Gate, you meet a handful of people, and as you leave, Baldur's Gate disappears.
Right.
Like you can find ways to, because they don't need to play those same characters. They will then play characters that are in Baldur's Gate when it descends into Avernus, right? So, but you're giving hey, look at all of these different events that are happening.
You could do this much the same way as it is presented in Tales of the Yawning Portal, where your party is playing people who are your party is playing the characters presented in a story to their core party in the Yawning Portal bar.
I just think that Barovia would stand out as being so unique compared to the others.
Right.
Just not only thematically, but you have opportunities for just low-level, undead, crazy shit. You get the odd specter in every campaign, but I mean, you deal with ghosts in Barovia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You deal with the haunting past of generations gone by, and everyone has gnarled, knobby knuckles in Barovia.
Yeah.
Name a dance sex tape. So
Gnarled, knobby knuckles.
yeah,
That's hard to say.
No. Name of Dan's.
The actor.
Yeah, the actor. Yeah, that's a character Dan plays. Knobby Knuckles.
Knobby Knuckles would be a character that you would play. Be like
In a porn film? Like, where are we going
No,
with this?
no, forget the porn film. I mean, that could be part of his backstory. Sure, everybody's got to make money. But like a drunk monk type of thing. Or like a tavern brawler.
Yeah.
Knobby Knuckles? No, he's a fucking gnome artificer with knobby knuckles.
Sure.
That's true.
That's Dan.
I'm on board with the idea of a gnome artificer.
Of course you are. Terry, what else do we have? Let's get back on track.
Well,
Let's
right now we
dance
have
and
a
talk about
commercial
gnomes.
and then we'll come back and talk about some other stuff.
All right. Hello, all you beautiful people out there in internet land. This is Adam, and I just wanted to take a quick second to do a little shout out for our friends over at Diabolical Dungeoneer. You can check them out. They do all sorts of great 3D printing and some unique minis and some terrain and stuff. They're fantastic. And we have talked about them in the past on the podcast, but they gave us this really badass, awesome, large-sized mimic. It just looks creepy as all hell. It's not painted. Our version of it hasn't been painted yet, but we're going to take a picture of it anyway and throw it up on Instagram so you guys can take a look. But it is phenomenal. We'd like to say thank you for this little gift that you've given us of this crazy mimic, because it, frankly, in my opinion, it looks a little bit like Terry. So you let me know in the comments on the picture on Instagram who you think it looks like. The backup answer that might also be correct is Brad when he laughs. Check it out. They are at Diabolical Dungeoneer, and they are one of the places online that we look at for our minis that we love to support, and they're just lovely individuals with great customer service. So go check them out. Again, that's Diabolical Dungeoneer, and they've got a website with the www. at the front and a .com at the end. So you can check the show notes here for their website, or you can go check out our Instagram. We'll write it in there as well. Of course, we can't link it, but, well, you know how the internet works. All right, back to the episode.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about some of the creatures, or some of the races that we'll see within Barovia. Barovia, for example, is where we see Dusk Elves. We see the appearance of Dusk Elves.
Yep.
We see a lot of lycanthropes, and we also see, what does that say? This is from my cousin, Phantom Warrior. Just a recipe card that says Phantom Warrior, just placed next to the page that says Phantom Warrior, as though that's helping.
Yes. Oh man, there's a lot. In
I think
here.
I was going to do something with this 3 years ago.
Yep.
And then there's also the questionably named mongrel folk. But what we'll do is we'll roll. I'd like you guys to talk about a race or a creature that you find within Barovia that you very much like, maybe a favorite, and one that you very much don't like.
Okay.
Okay. I got a 9.
I got a natural 1.
I got a 5. That's 2 natural ones for
Okay.
you, man.
I'll talk about one that I really like. I really like the Wereravens.
Yeah.
Do you find? Yeah, because I know that we have werewolves, but when I ran Strahd, dived real deeply into the Wereravens. They became a huge part of the campaign, as I recall, conducting an aerial assault on Castle Ravenloft, dropping barrels of holy water onto a horde of zombies. But I mean, you run Strahd however you want, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I remember consulting with Adam, going, "Do we have a mechanic for dropping barrels of holy water from 800 feet up?"
And I just happened to say, well, yep.
Give me 1 minute.
Yeah, I can do this.
But I like the different type of lycanthropes, and the Wereravens. When you see them, it's like the Power Rangers in that if you look close enough, you can figure out which Power Ranger they are. They have typically black feathers in their hair, and they're a little bit gothy. But I like them as an addition to Curse of Strahd and Barovia, because if you're a newer DM, now it's permission to get experimental with lycanthropes and to go down maybe a not so usual kind of alleyway with that that I think leads to more confidence with races, NPCs, and creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to run through all of the ones we like the best and then all the ones we don't like?
Let's do that. Whoever's going next.
That was me. I really liked Baba Lysaga's Creeping Hut.
Yeah, we never when I ran it, we never got to that. We got derailed.
We
with the
never
results.
dealt with her.
Same with me.
Yeah.
We dealt with her. We did not go to her house.
She was always in the next room that we didn't deal with.
That's true.
Yeah.
I wrote her into the campaign. It's just like you say. It was always next room. Yeah.
Yeah. You go right or left. She's waiting right. We went left every time.
Yeah.
So at the end, I think you just killed her in a cutscene.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that was the end of it. And so I like the idea of the Creeping Hut just because I like Baba Yaga's hut on chicken legs, right? And so that's just a fun piece of imagery for me. And the fact that it gives you fucking stats in the book for this as well, because it's an animated object, is really neat and really fun. And honestly, I want to see more shit like that. I know that they're promising in the new book in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, they are promising some mechanics on how to run a village where everything is a mimic.
Oh yes,
God.
please.
However, I hope that they mean fucking everything down to the cobblestones on the paths and the houses and structures themselves. I want to see a well step up out of the ground where the stone circle that is the well just grows teeth and it moves over to the side. There's a whole fucking stick body underneath of it as it stands up. I want shit to get horrifyingly weird as you cannot trust anything. I love the movie The Thing, where you cannot trust a single person in there. I want to see something where you cannot trust anything.
That'd be great. Yeah. And then you can be fighting mimics from the inside. If it's buildings or under bridges or something. Yeah.
How would you do that? Everything's so sticky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the name of Dan's sex tape.
That ends with a question mark. Everything's so sticky.
Yeah.
For me, my favorite are the Barovian Witches. The main reason why I love the Barovian Witches so much is because they are CR half, which means for a they're a mob monster with fucking second level spells. It's absolutely bonkers.
Would you leave them that way, or would you beef them up a bit so they're a little
No, man. No, I the fact that we have a CR half, and I mean they play CR half. Their armor class is 10. A strong breeze is gonna knock these things over. But to have a whole low level arc of a 2-session arc in a campaign of this coven of witches and being able to actually produce these are the low level initiates, the traditional broom flying witches. Yeah, man, I'm down with that. And then to be able to pair those with hags. I view these as incredibly low level, low difficulty hags, which is a thing that I have felt has been missing in D&D. So the Barovian Witches scratches an itch for me.
I'm always complaining that there's not enough high level hags, which honestly I just use a drow matron mother anyway. So
yeah.
Because their CR 21 or 23 or something.
Right.
Fucking drow. But no, I have to agree. These things are absolutely amazing. And yeah, they're CR half. And you know what that means? I'm going to use the action economy against you motherfuckers. Yeah. You've killed 2 of them. That's great. And now you turn the corner, there's 9 more.
And they
Someone's
have
gonna die.
Ray of Sickness, Sleep, and very thematic Tasha's Hideous Laughter.
Yeah.
Right?
Sleep's powerful.
Sleep's
low-level parties.
Incredibly powerful. And they've got fucking second-level spell slots. So here they are blowing, what is that, 7d8?
I'm pretty sure there's spell sluts in this.
Oh, Dave, write that down as a gothic porno idea.
Dan just closed the book. He's done. All right, what's the one that you like the least then, Terry?
What do I like the least? I'm going to say, and probably for different reasons than somebody else, but I don't like the Mongol folk because when I've read through Curse of Strahd a couple of times, I felt like they were just being jammed in there. I felt like I couldn't make it fit the theme of what I was trying to do. And they have a lot of things to them. You can roll for different attributes to Mongol folk, but they seem very body horror type stuff that doesn't seem to fit with the grim fairy tale type horror. It just felt like they were being jammed in there, and I didn't understand why.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really an afterthought.
Yeah.
Did we even run into them?
No, I didn't include them.
Yeah.
So I'm not interested in this.
Mine, honestly, I don't give a fuck about vampire spawn. They serve a weird purpose. I wish that they had better rules for lycanthropy and vampirism, right? If you're going to include players being able to be turned into vampires, you should fucking include it, right? Put some thought into it and don't just have two different tiers of what a vampire is.
Right.
And I mean, it's a major factor in the Curse of Strahd campaign. There are vampire spawn that are walking around all the time. But we have such more interesting vampires out of Ravnica, which are at different CR levels that are between the vampire spawn. Like, it's weird that the vampire spawn are CR, I don't know, and then Strahd is CR 15, then there's nothing in the fucking middle, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I really want there to be something... I want there to be tiers of vampires, so you need to know what you're getting into. And you can have them be bestial at the beginning and slowly gain a certain amount of class and panache and whatnot, so they can be the giant popped collar flowing cape vampire
Like
if
they
you
get
want.
Stronger over time.
Sure,
as
and
a
they
traditional vampire.
they get their intelligence and they can strategize and they learn and sure. But there's a big gap between the hissing little fucking zombie looking motherfucker in the corner
Yeah.
and Strahd.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think the Mongol folk have where you can roll for attributes? And I feel like if you were to go like the Anne Rice style vampires, I feel like that suits the vampires as well. They may have telekinesis, or they can fly, or detect thoughts, or something.
It'd be really cool.
Permanent haste.
I would think that it would be really cool for you to list like the 10 or 12 attributes. Every vampire gets 3 on the list, and one of the following weaknesses as well. Everyone gets sunlight. Right? But the idea that a stake to the heart will just kill this one, whereas it will just incapacitate others while they're in their crypt. Right? Or these ones cannot cross running water. Or these ones are perceptible to silver. Or a crucifix or a holy symbol will make them flee.
Yeah.
Right? And so each vampire is slightly different. And you know what? No. I changed my answer. I want that through fucking family trees of vampires. I also want that if you kill the master, all of the other ones beneath it turn to dust.
Okay. Adam, you're going to hate this because I'm going to bring up another tabletop RPG that I've played excessively, which is Vampire the Masquerade.
It's a sex thing. We've established
It's not a
this on
sex thing. It's not a sex thing.
I would make that a sex thing within 30 seconds.
I've already made that a sex thing.
I hate you both. Anyways, so this idea of targeting...
Do they have vampires that are marching saying we will not wear the masquerade on City Hall? The masquerade is infringing upon my freedoms?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I mean, maybe there is a brood of vampires who hate the masquerade, which is the thing that needs to be maintained so that vampires stay hidden from the daylight world. That's why it's called Vampire the Masquerade. Anyways,
It's weird that you have to play with your nipples when you talk about this.
no, it's not. You get used to it after a while. Anyways, there is a whole that's not the word to pause on with you two. There's a whole story thread within the entire thing of Vampire the Masquerade of assuming the essence of your sire, and those who came before you in your bloodline are more important and more powerful, and the hierarchy and positionality of your rank within your family is incredibly important. Doing that, but with D&D and Strahd, with different families of vampires that have different traits, different flaws, different abilities, sounds amazing, and I would love to do that.
Yeah. You can make it good. Make it work.
I'm thinking about the family trees and the sires and whatnot. How come no one's talking about the fact that Strahd is a fan of polygamy? Why is no one bringing this up?
Well, again, I guess I put like...
Is Strahd Mormon?
Polyamory. Do you mean polyamory?
Well, he's got 3 wives, right? Isn't that the goal? That's polygamy.
That's how we did it. I don't know if that's by the book. I just threw that in as like...
Oh, did you?
fantasy.
Oh, okay.
So that's Terry projecting onto Strahd.
There we go.
Yeah.
So why is nobody talking about the fact that Terry's a fan of polygamy?
So my least favorite thing in here is also kind of one of my favorite things, and it's Piddlewick the Second.
Again, didn't come up when I read it, but yes.
So Piddlewick the Second is a cursed doll that is incredibly reminiscent of a fantasy Chucky.
Yeah.
I fucking love the Chucky movies.
That's surprising.
And the concept of the Chucky movies.
It's weird that you don't even know what they're called. What are they called, Dan?
The Chucky movies?
Yeah.
Bride of Chucky, Child's Play.
There it is. Child's Play 1, 2, and 3 before they went just fucking wank fest with
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah, it was.
I
weird.
really like 80s slasher flicks though, so like
There's just a lot of boobs in those.
they're
Yes.
14-year-old Dan
Oh my
loved
God.
them for a different reason.
Which ones? Which movies would they be in?
Specifically which ones. But my main reason for hating Piddlewick isn't because he's an animated doll, isn't because he just wants to find someone to love him, and when he's frustrated he does bad things. He's a CR quarter, and I want him to be scarier than that. I want him to be this horrible little doll-like assassin.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take all of his size and personality and everything else. I'm going to put it on the merit stats.
That's a little excessive.
Is it?
Yes. On the merit? Yes.
Is it? It's like CR25 or something.
Yes, some such shit.
It's got an auto hit. Cannot miss attack.
Yeah.
All
So, I love the flavor of Piddlewick. I would really like to see like the Gremlins version of Piddlewick, where he got wet after midnight, or he fed him after midnight, or got wet and thus became a murderous like assassin who just killed everyone in one of the villages or was on the rampage.
I would make him a friend of the party.
Or that, yeah.
Starts off, you know what parties are like. Starts off friendly, everybody loves him, wants to keep him. He's got a funny voice that's so good, and then he just starts going a little bit too far. Okay, Piddlewick, we didn't need to stab her, did we?
Yeah, a rumor starts going around of people dying shortly after they hear the jingling of bells.
Yeah,
Right? And it's just his little, like, jester hat
yeah.
jingling before he shanks them with a
I
cardboard
would use
tube.
these guys as, all right, so note to other people, I know that this is the Barovia episode, but when it comes time to run a Christmas special for your D&D party, have about a dozen of these guys dicking around in the background.
100%. And look forward to that. Who's left? Is that it?
That's it.
That's what you liked, right? No, that's
what we didn't like.
That's what you didn't like.
Can I also say that I don't like Strahd?
No, how dare you say
Look,
that?
but like mechanically,
You cut that
I
out.
actually really like him from a thematic standpoint.
Yes.
Because I don't think he's the megalomaniac that everyone makes him out to be. I just think that he is so good at what he does. He made a deal with the devil, and he has to live with it for eternity, and he justifies it the only way he can, and he rules an iron fist,
Right.
and so on and so forth. To me, he's really aloof. However, mechanically speaking, he's kind of a bag of shit.
Yeah, he's a pushover.
Yeah, he definitely needs...
I mean, I know
minions.
that
It can go bad quickly for
I know
Strahd.
that it's a 1 to 10 campaign, and he's a CR 15.
CR 15, and he's got a full page entry.
Right, so there's a lot of shit he can do, but as we all know, you don't actually get past round 4 in combat.
Yeah, he needs minions.
Well, he's got legendary actions, which more than makes up for it, right? Like that, what he can do is overkill for a level 10 party. He is fucking dangerous. You have to line up everything in your favor in order to take him out. But I don't know anyone that's fought Strahd and lost.
Right.
Every campaign they kill Strahd.
I've heard of people who just get wiped out by him.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Good, because he should be that scary.
Well, it's also the thing that he has the possibility of appearing in session 1 right in front of your party.
Yeah, but that's what
Right?
I like as well. I love Strahd for that because
but
I
he
get
could
to
be-
do creepy roleplay
He
stuff.
could be CR22 and do that, though. There's no reason why he has to be, within 5 levels of the party to swing his dick around, right? Like,
Yeah.
he could really show up later and be scary badass to the point where he's stomping around going, I am so fucking amazing. Even when you are in your last encounter. And be like, how do we take him out? How do we do this? And I don't know, there's just... he's not scary enough. I want more from Strahd.
Right.
Considering that he is, I'm going to go out on a limb here, potentially the most famous of the 5th edition bad guys.
I'd say so.
I'd make an argument for Tiamat, but that's it. That's the only one I think.
Xanathar.
Most people aren't even aware that he is a bad guy because they gave him a book. If you're not familiar with Waterdeep and you just read Xanathar's Guide to Everything, a lot of people
What about a
think he's good
Serac?
guy.
No, I don't think with the casual fans.
Yeah.
The casuals know Strahd.
Well, the thing is, Strahd has been the focus of video games. He's been the focus of multiple...
His name's in the title, man. He's a titular character of this one,
Yeah.
right? And I also got to say titular.
Strahd needs regional effects, I think. If he's in...
Well, isn't that what Barovia is?
Barovia is a regional effect of Strahd.
No, but he needs regional effect, like Initiative 20.
Oh,
this
yeah. Oh, he
happens.
needs lair effects is what you
Lair,
mean.
actions, lair actions, excuse
Yeah.
me. Lair actions.
So, I don't know. I don't like... Mechanically, I don't like Strahd. Thematically, I love him. But I think all of his minions are a little weak, too. Like his lieutenants, his Rahadin and...
Rahadin is another one that's supposed to be terrifying. But then when it comes down to it, you're like, okay, we could probably deal with this guy pretty quick.
You shank Rahadi in a closet.
But if you get too close to him, you can hear the screams of the thousands of souls that he's like murdered, and you're like, terrifying. And then you're like, well, not if you roll high initiative.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that Barovia itself is ripe for people to add their own layers of horror into it.
Right.
Yes.
And it's not... What they do is they give you a basic framework in the book, and that is enough to get a new DM through.
Yeah.
It's not enough for an experienced group, I don't think, because there are people that complain about it. Like, it has... Everyone says that it is probably the best 5th edition book, but it is by no means perfect. Because there are a lot of things that can just go kind of sideways, or they're not as effective as you want them to be.
The whole tarot card...
The Tarokka deck?
Yeah, the tarot... Like, it fell flat for me at my table, but...
Yeah, it could have just been... It's made out to be this huge big thing, but then it's over by like session 1. Oh, you've done it. You're like, okay, well now we're just going off finding things. Like, you know, not to do too many spoilers. It doesn't need to be a thing. There can just be some other type of divination. That's done.
I like it because it's thematic and
Yeah.
it matches the feel that they're trying to establish, and it really helps establish that tone. But it loses its impact almost immediately.
Yeah. Another thing, because Strahd is also very... Curse of Strahd, the campaign, is also very vague in some ways. It never mentions ever, anywhere, other than the named minions, any type of defense force that Strahd has. There's no army. There's no, like, uniformed knights or anything like that. I just put them into my campaign.
Doesn't it feel like he needs to have a Death Knight general at his right hand?
Flying monkeys or something.
You see characters in here that have spent their entire lives, often multiple times, fighting Strahd and his armies, and then you never hear anything about his armies. Right? Like the whole Argynvost storyline.
The Dusk Elves.
Yeah.
What the fuck is up with the Dusk Elves? They're an afterthought, another footnote, right? And so these are the complaints that I have. So here's my suggestion. Input your horror. Throw that shit in there. You should always have, every time that a day starts, the DM should be rolling a d10 to find out what kind of apparition, what kind of prophecy, what sort of ill omen happens around the corner.
Yeah.
This will happen at some point today, and you'll just inject that when it comes. They turn the corner and there's a crying woman in the middle of the road, and they run up to her and she fades.
Yeah.
But her crying never does.
You could take
and shit like that. And then I add a sanity stat.
Yeah.
Yes,
100%.
you need to have a sanity stat to deal with this appropriately.
You know, you could, if you're going to do something divination, which Strahd touches on a little bit with the Tarokka deck and stuff, you could go, I would rather go pull inspiration from like Jumanji. Like, however you're going to do it. Roll this, here's the prophecy for today, this is what you're going to be dealing with.
I don't know, man. Jumanji's chult.
No. I mean, I don't mean like rhinos and stampedes and stuff. I mean the idea of what comes up is what happens.
Yeah.
So like...
Yeah, maybe you don't. Yeah, you don't roll a d10. Yeah. You've got the deck in front of you, and you've just assigned a different omen or vision or whatever it is to each card in your campaign prep ahead of time.
Right.
And then every day you flip a card, put it down, and everyone goes, "Ooh, what's that?"
Oh, no.
And this session, you lay out what that.
That's
is.
how you start every single session.
But
yeah,
some good, some bad, right? Because
you don't know which is which.
Players are going to do it, of course they are. But if they get a real bad one, it's going to stay until they get one to replace it.
Yeah, and I like the idea that you let people know who gets to flip the card. That's your inspiration reward at the end of every session. And next session, Dan's going to get to flip the card, and you have the literal physical cards, and in a tarot deck, if you flip it upside down, that means something different. So will Dan flip it right side up for good or upside down for evil?
Oh, that's cool. So like you have some ambiguous wealth is like the card that you have, and then if it's flipped the wrong way, all your wealth's getting taken away from you.
You just don't know how or when, or it'll be threatened anyway.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of fun.
I mean, it could be done as an action. Oh shit, we're fighting Rahadin. Shit's going sideways. Flip a card. Fuck, it can't get any worse. And it might, or it might get a lot better.
I mean, it's basically the deck of many things.
But I think it's going to be more
thematic.
And thematic.
Nothing will nuclear bomb your campaign like the deck of many things.
Like a Baelor.
True story. We ended up getting derailed out of our Curse of Strahd campaign because of the Deck of Many Things, it summoned a fucking Baylor,
In the middle of
murdered
the
one of the players, and we had to go
Hi.
rescue her from the afterlife.
Hi, new DM here.
Mistakes were made.
Because they shouldn't have it out there because new DMs go, oh, this is the most interesting thing I've ever read in my life. Terrible. Fucking terrible.
So easy to get a hold of, too. Shit.
It was great. Okay, well,
All right, so for the shout-out this week, honestly, let's just shout out everybody that we know that's played Curse of Strahd, because I think it is legitimately the most popular one that's out there,
Right.
short of the starter set. Everyone I know has played the starter set or Curse of Strahd, usually both. Right? So I know that Megan's going through it right now. I know that the Zombie Knight is DMing it, and it's going very well. He was messaging me on the way in today
Really?
about Curse of Strahd campaign and how, like, his players are getting right up to, they hear the screams coming from the basement in the church. That's scary. Let's leave. And they do, right? Which is how we fucked.
wow.
Which is
That's how my first character died in the Curse of Strahd, was
not
because
how
of
my
the screams in the
fucking plays
basement.
did it.
well, that's how we fucked Dan over in Call of Cthulhu as well, right? Where we got right up to the mouth of the cave. And he's like, you go, there's this splayed out organs of this man that's up there that's strung up. We're like, oh,
I'm out.
shit, yep, let's go. And he's like, what? What? There's adventure down there. But now, fuck it. We're going to run from dogs. So,
And play with way too much dynamite. Mistakes were made.
but
We all do it. In my defense, I shot one of those dogs. Two
two of them, yeah.
Yeah. One of them you didn't need to.
Well, people need a hobby.
It's called a show of force.
Two mindless dogs. Sure.
Rough.
Oh, woof.
Okay, so no, but Terry ran a great Curse of Strahd campaign. Everyone, like the All Natural 20s, which is now defunct, but it was DM Zune run that, and that was famous for being just fucking off the rails.
Yeah.
Everyone I know has run. Your buddy Russell ran you guys through it, right?
Yep.
And he did a really fun job.
He did,
Although
yep.
I understand that he pronounced it up Vlaki and not Valakai.
Look, I get it, man.
His last name is, I almost said it out loud, is like German sounding. You should know this shit. No, but I know that there's talks now of Terry's maybe thinking about running it a second time.
Putting it together. I'm putting it together, and I'm going in a different direction. I'm leaning it. Basically, everything that I missed last time is going to be coming in, and I think I'll do it as a set amount of sessions, probably 10 sessions. 10 sessions is a good amount for Strahd.
Good luck with that group, man. You're going to spend 3 sessions just them eating mushrooms in the fucking forest, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. Planning out a campaign to be a set amount of sessions
Stressful.
is hard.
But what's good about Strahd is you can just bring Strahd to them. If they're going to fuck around the forest for 5, it's not like you're like, no, you have to get to the temple. That's where the dragon is. You're just like, okay, dickheads, well now you're all high as kites and here's your vampire overlord. Deal with it.
So anyway, so that's our shout out. Let us know if you've played Curse of Strahd, you liked it, you hated it. Let us know. Send us messages. info@itsmimic.com, and of course all the social media nonsense. So, which is at this point, I think the subreddit r/itsmimic. The YouTube comments are big right now, and of course Facebook and Instagram. So,
Yeah.
so let us.
Just email us at info@itsmimic.com.
I said that one already, Dan.
Well, I'm helping.
Yes, you are, and you're pretty too, Dan. You're so pretty.
TikTok.
I can't. Are you advertising TikTok, or are you just telling me to move
I
faster?
don't know what the right thing is to do anymore.
Okay.
What do you call the people on TikTok? Are they TikTokers?
Tweens.
Is that what it is?
No, yeah, maybe.
When they've posted, have they TikToked?
I think the boys of Generation Z are certainly going to regret those perms and side fades in a few years. I think.
I don't know. I don't regret any of my hairstyles from when I was like, this is a lie.
I've rocked this since I was
And
8,
Dan,
so
you're doing right, man. Because every time I go through a phase of life, I look back at the last one and fucking hate it. So, such is life. Topic 3: homebrewing in the setting. Let's go around the table. Let's roll. Let's all give 2 one-shot ideas.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
Or 1 if you can only manage 1.
I got a 19.
I got a 16.
And I got a 14.
Okay, so for my campaign ideas, Adam earlier mentioned the idea of the Mad Mage. Now, to not dive into spoilers into the Curse of Strahd campaign, there is a Mad Mage.
Oh yeah, they tell you on like page 7.
Is it that one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to have a one-shot session to find find the Mad Wizard and solve his problems. Which is
He's
really
out of tea.
well, no, it's like go retrieve his staff or whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Like so simple one session, one off campaign that you could plunk down in the middle of your campaign at any point in time and use the same players, same characters, right? You guys are on a journey from one city to the other for major plot threads in your normal campaign. Here's a one-off session, go.
That's fun. Okay, can we change it, Terry? Instead of one-offs, can we have like that thing that you add for one session in the middle of your Barovia campaign?
Sure.
Just because that's really cool.
Yeah.
Instead of just a one-shot, like...
Because the thing is
with side quests.
Well, the thing is
Side
with Barovia also, you just kind of stumble into it, right? You're not...
Yeah, there's
just
different
kinda,
ways you can get into it, but yeah.
But like with the way we did with my group is like we were walking down the road one day and all of a sudden the sun went away and we were stuck here.
That's about the laziest way you can get into it, but sure.
But it's still a possible way of doing it. And having your party just like stumble into it and find the one character who could get them out, but he's gone crazy, so you gotta help him find his sense of self and his memories, and he can pull you back out. Done. That's a great one shot.
Yeah.
Adam?
No, I'm last. Terry's next.
Okay. Hey, spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1. Hey, when you defeat Strahd, Barovia goes away, right? Collapses on itself and blah, blah, blah. Whatever you want to happen. You can do it in different ways. I like the idea of not necessarily a sequel, but kind of like a mini sequel of that has happened somewhere by somebody else, and Barovia is collapsing in on itself, and essentially a timed race where you have 24 hours to get from one side to the other, because that's where the escape is, and you're essentially running the maze, so to speak, to get through the villages. So it's just going to be some random encounters, some not so random encounters, but it's going to be limited. It's basically resource management over this 24-hour period. The mists are coming and collapsing in, and you're trying to get from one side to the other.
That's how you should just end your Strahd campaign.
It's just the run for the gate.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
The nothing is coming from the never-ending story.
Yeah.
And, like, it is disappearing into oblivion.
How quick, though, because you are going to be super drained of all of your abilities at the end of Strahd.
You have 24 hours to get through in-game, but you've got villagers that need to be saved, NPCs that you need to go get, right? Like, there's shit to do. Not to mention riches. Like, you've got a whole castle to loot.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe you can take an 8-hour, or you can try to get that catnap spell in or something, just to get up on your feet again, because you've got a mad race to get to the place where you came in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's all different ways you can kind of replenish and stuff, but that mad race, that's what I'm looking for. Anybody got another one? Oh, it's you.
So we've got a lot of werewolves, and we also have hags and witches.
Right.
And lycanthropy is technically a curse. I would like you to remove the werewolves. This is the thing that you do. You fight the hags, and instead of killing them, you need to get the remove curse, the special end the lycanthropy. And it gets rid of all of the werewolves and all of the were-ravens. So late in the game, if you're going to inject it, you just clean up the lycanthropy out of Barovia.
Right. I
Cool.
love it.
Another one-shot idea I have is solving the mass murder in
Valakai.
There we go. Solving the mass murderer, the crimes of the mass murder of Valakai.
It was Strahd.
Right? No.
It was
no.
Jacques the Ripper.
Well, or something like that. Like you have that feel. You have that potential, Victorian era slasher in the shadows and in the mists feel inside of Valakai. And for those of you who aren't looking at a map, Valakai has a massive lake that's just above it, and having the scene of the one guy on the boat dropping bodies into the lake.
I got a story about that.
Yeah,
I just remembered.
All right, no,
which is an actual plot thread in Curse of Strahd.
And I got to tell you this fucking story.
No, I'm done. Doing solving that and then ending it by making him pay for his Dexter way of hiding bodies.
So these fuckers on the campaign are on the edge of the lake.
For those on podcast land, Terry just gestured wildly solely towards Adam
And the rest of the party, I remember behind him.
This was me and Jamie specifically. We fucked this up pretty good.
So they get to the edge of the lake, and I describe, obviously, there's the gentleman in the distance, and I say he seems like he's lifting something heavy off the boat and letting it splash in.
What is he doing with my dick?
So they're like, fucking whatever, he's fishing or something. So one of these Chuckle Brothers.
So
Fishing for laughs.
it was
He throws
Jamie.
a rock or
Yeah,
something?
threw a rock.
Hurls something. I think crits on it. So smashes this guy in the head. Like, boom. Catastrophic head wound. Falls into the water and drowns.
Well, wait for it, because I had Water Walk as a spell because I was a cleric. I am running across the lake. I'm a dwarf, 25 foot around movement. So I'm running across the lake. I dive down. I get the guy.
Yeah.
And I like drag him back up and revivify to bring him back to be like, oh my God, we can't kill this poor man who was just fishing. And drag him back up into the boat.
Revivify him.
Everybody
Start to
else
question him.
Everybody else shows up. They start swimming.
Everyone
over.
else shows up. Investigation checks, whatever. I forget how they do it. Talks to them. Revivify him. Yeah, that's right. You revivify him, so he comes back. Figure out that he had killed somebody who was dumping a body, so they fucking drowned him again.
You're like, oh, never mind then. Splash.
Drown him, revivified him. He's like, thank God, find out what he did and drown him again. And that's the team that I was playing Strahd with.
This was the same campaign where I asked Terry, do you think lungs are an open container? And he went, sure. Where are you going with this?
New DM.
Yep. Create or destroy water. So you can create a certain amount of water inside any open, like 10 gallons of water inside any open container. So I'm like, the shopkeeper that they just robbed and like he was freaking out and screaming and trying to defeat everybody. I just created water in his lungs, fucker drowned on dry land. And then I felt bad about it. And cast Revivify and brought it back.
I thought they were just going to make like a water skin from like one of the dead animals or something that was around. I was like, oh yeah, you guys can make a water skin out of lungs that counts as an open container.
Yeah, players always have more devious intentions than you assume.
This was when I was introduced to Adam. As a
that
player.
was, I think, the first big thing that I did in that campaign.
Yeah, like they were in Barovia going to the shop to like get supplies or something. This is what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's good times.
Yeah. Next one from me. Another spoiler alert. Hey, look, if you haven't played Curse of Strahd, just don't listen to this podcast, okay? Or listen to it
This
and forget
episode.
everything. This episode, not the podcast entirety.
This also should have come before an hour and a half into the episode.
There's one of the more famous NPCs is Irina. And Irina reminds Strahd of his beloved Tatiana, and so he's obsessed with turning Irina into a vampire. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yep.
For a one shot, I like the idea of you are working for Strahd and your job is to go and retrieve Irina. Yeah, could be an evil campaign, maybe not. Maybe it's just more of a neutral campaign, okay? He's paying the money, we need
He will let you free if you just go get his long lost love.
100%.
And you don't tell them that she is, like she has been kidnapped by her brother. Go bring her back for me. Right? And so they don't know that they're working for the bad guy.
Exactly. But you give them whatever is valuable to the players. This one shot might be setting them up for their full campaign that you're going to run later, and they need all the MacGuffins and supplies and gold or whatever because it's going to make their next game great.
Yeah.
So how far will they go? Probably too far.
Well, they're players. Yeah, absolutely. So my last one is probably not a one shot. Honestly, this is going to run a little bit long. It may be 2 or 3 sessions. Or frankly, I would litter my Barovia campaign with these guys. The Sorrowsworn from Mordenkainen's. I fucking love these guys. They're not undead, but they really feel like they are. They focus in on what their names: the lonely, the hungry, the angry. Like they focus in on one negative emotion that people have, and then they hunt them the fuck down.
What's their names?
They're the Sorrowsworn.
The lonely,
the
hungry, the angry.
There are, I want to say 5 or 6 of
my
them.
ex-girlfriends.
The angry, the hungry, the lonely, the lost, and the wretched.
Yeah.
And they're all horrific Shadowfell type creatures that are varying different challenge ratings. I think from 1/4 is the wretched up to 13 is the angry.
Yeah.
So and they will run out. They will fuck your life up.
These things have that definite fucking Pinhead.
Oh, the Cenobite?
Yeah, they have Cenobite feel to them.
Yeah, these guys feel like almost if the Shadowfell had their version of demons, it would be these guys.
Yeah.
The things that they are spawning. If the Shadowfell spawned its own essence into creatures, it would be the Sorrowsworn. I like the idea of you hearing the lost calling out for help in the midst as you're walking down the road between villages, right? And do you go help that lost voice out there?
Yeah.
When you're lost, these guys find you, right?
Yeah.
So
great random encounter though.
yeah, and that's the thing is when your character feels angry, the angry shows up. When your guys are hungry, the hungry shows up.
Oh, I love it.
When you're feeling like the wretched show up and you're feeling wretched, and they're CR quarter and they come in fucking groups. like packs, and they latch on and like chew away at you.
Yeah.
These things are badass. I love the Sorrowsworn, and I want to see them all the way through Barovian campaigns, right? But I think that maybe if there's one or two of them, you could hunt them down and end them for some reward.
Yeah.
Or just have all 5 of them and just have like the lists that you have to go through.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Checking it off as you go.
Yeah.
And maybe these were the 5 previous party members that tried to fight Strahd.
Oh, I like that.
Or hags or someone, right? And you curse them down into
I
this.
make an entire campaign out of this because then you're like investigating the vices that they fell to in
Yeah.
order to draw them out.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff about the Sorrowsworn, and they fit Barovia perfectly. This is why I said, Dan, I love Barovia, because it's dark and oppressive and evil. And I think when you set up camp in Barovia, that is when things need to become light and jovial. And if you have a bard or even a halfling or someone in the party, they should sit down and it should be their job to roll for morale.
Right.
To try to have a performance check or persuasion or just try to make people feel better. This is where you roll to maybe get your sanity stat back up. Right.
Yeah.
And you're going to bring your party together.
Yeah.
And every time that you have a long rest, one person on the table has to tell a story from their character's childhood.
Yeah. I love
Just
it.
to make everything a little bit happier. And then you have their whole backstory when that person gets turned into a vampire 9 sessions from now. Right? Like, it's going to feel personal. It's going to feel dark. And that's my other problem with Barovia and Curse of Strahd is we don't give a shit about the main characters.
Yeah.
The main characters did nothing wrong to get into this scenario in the first place. They were walking down the road, or they entered a house to help children. They were wrong place, wrong time. And our favorite heroes are the ones where something bad happened to them.
Right.
Right? They're going to try to save or fix or help. That's not what the players do in Curse of Strahd. They're just there.
Yeah.
They just showed up and they walked into a village and was like, help. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
There's no real fucking motivation until Strahd shows up the first time with big hairy nutsack. And they're like, oh, I hate that guy. Let's fucking kill him.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a vampire, right? What's the name of this campaign?
Strayed.
The Curse of Strahd.
Exactly. Yeah, I like the idea of lifting the morale during camp. I like to use NPCs to do that sort of stuff as well, whether it's like
I have seen
music
you
being played.
with NPCs lifting morale, Terry, and I can't recommend that to the average listener.
I know some people are into it.
Yeah. Again, Pepperina comes to mind.
Let's go same order. Let's talk 2 campaign ideas.
Oh,
Dan,
same
we should-
order.
Well, we can roll if you want to
Let's
roll.
roll for
That's
it.
all right.
I got a 9.
5.
I got a 19.
You're going first.
Campaign idea?
Yes.
All right, so I want to take Strahd, and I want to really dig into the curse that Strahd has on him. And then I want them to show up, maybe through some sort of haunted house, and slowly unveil the fact that there's this curse that exists and reveal what's going on with his brother and his lost love. And he's trying to get this woman, Irina, to be there and they've got to rescue her and keep her safe. And they've got to run around all the different villages and solve a handful of small mysteries and crimes and run into a whole bunch of gothic horror level stuff. And in the end, have to fight and kill Strahd.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So your campaign idea is
It's
to run
good.
the Curse of Strahd.
Is that what just happened?
I'm waiting for the next bit. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No. Honestly, my big thing is I want to deal with the Dracolich that is Argynvost.
Okay.
We had dragon campaigns all the time. We don't get Dracolich campaigns.
Right.
And Terry, you ran this so well in our campaign. He was a good dragon who is now dead. And even though that he's infected with the Shadowfell and stuff, and he's dangerous now, and he's twisted and he hates Strahd, there's a glimmer of goodness to him. And the idea of resurrecting Argynvost, maybe you don't need to kill Strahd. Maybe you need to just resurrect and redeem Argynvost.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take the Curse of Strahd campaign setting. I would remove Strahd from it as being this aloof thing over that you guys will never kill.
Yeah.
You just won't. Resurrect the Dracolich. Return him to power, give him an army, get him the items that he needs, and send him off. He can save the land.
Right.
You guys will be his generals, his captains on the battlefield and shit from there. And that way your enemies are Rahadin and Baba Lysega and
you get to explore some of the others a little bit more. They get missed, they get overlooked because you're so focused on Strahd in his tower somewhere.
But if you were to take kind of like the Horcrux idea from Voldemort and say, you know, all of these different lieutenants each have one part of Argynvost's soul. Bring him back.
Yeah.
Then you get to go essentially redeem the Silver Dragon.
And then you get to have a lot of very different encounters because those lieutenants are also very different.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Oh, I like that. Dan? No, it's me. Shut up.
Actually, no.
It is Dan.
Dan, continue.
You got a 5. So I got a 9. Justice for Dan. Anyways, the campaign idea I would love to have is I want to have an urban campaign inside of Barovia, specifically inside of the largest town in Barovia, which is Valaki.
No,
Valakai.
it fucking isn't.
Valakai. But there is this dark Eastern European feel of like the I'm going to say this wrong as well. The Burgermeisters.
I say Burgermasters. I don't know.
Anyways, the leadership of the town is clearly doing something evil and having a full campaign of just dealing with the interpolitics of these old families that have lived here in the city for centuries. And now you are the party that is like kind of invading and are the catalyst for a bunch of these old tensions of these families coming against each other to fight and to explode. And you're uncovering mass murderers and you're kind of playing like the crime families of Gotham just inside of Valakai. So, like, having a campaign, urban campaign with this feel, because I feel a lot of urban campaigns often go a little bit higher in the fantasy. I want to do a lower fantasy urban campaign.
I like that. I like the idea of Gotham, that Gotham inspiration.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, frankly, there's not a whole lot of room for crazy Wizard's Tower level nonsense in Barovia. That's not what this is. That's Dungeon of the Mad Mage. You're going to Waterdeep. You're going to...
And the thing is with Waterdeep as well is it's a fucking metropolis. It's goddamn huge. Valakai isn't.
No.
Valakai has I mean it's a city. It is a larger town, but it is something your entire party could get their heads wrapped around, and you spend an entire campaign knowing every single person in the city.
Yeah. I like it. I really like it. I'm going to lean it. My Curse of Strahd campaign ended up becoming this military assault on Ravenloft that I was not expecting, but, you know, DM just rolled with it and made it happen. I like the idea of that military struggle being in Barovia, but I would take it even further. I would have, like, think of it as, like, the Empire and the Rebels. Like, they hold Barovia and Kresk. We hold Valakai. We have our strongholds up, we have our scouts out, and dealing with the different things that would go on. Essentially, it's going to become like Westeros in Barovia. Stick with that dark campaign.
Yeah.
Where you have... It's not necessarily the forces themselves that are going to win this campaign. It's not the military forces. It's going to be the intrigue. It's going to be the backstabbing with the allies. And again, removing Strahd as just being he's over there somewhere. But today we're focusing on this and having a big kind of military campaign where this small party has to use their brains a little bit to win.
I like... Oh, sorry.
No,
I was going to say, I like the idea of using Strahd.
Yeah, I'm getting to you, Dan. Also, I had to look it up because I'm like, is it Burgermeister? It's Burgomaster.
Burgomaster,
okay. Of course.
So I like the idea of using Strahd as a mythic level threat. The entirety of Barovia know he's there. No, it's not a question, right? But he, due to inactivity on his behalf, on his part, has become this almost the creature the parents tell their kids to go to sleep at night. Right? That's the level of threat he is. So having this whole political intrigue thing that you have, and then Strahd sees that the political climate of his realm has changed enough where he's like, all right, I'm done moping. It's time to come out there and make my presence known. And then he is now doing the same thing as your party is halfway through the campaign, but now he's pulling people back to him who you once thought were allies, who were, you know, beholden to Strahd, but because he's been this mythic level thing for a while, you've managed to bring them back to a side of good, but now Strahd reappears and they're tempted to go back.
Yeah.
To like it just... The political intrigue there is brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Who's next? Adam.
Yeah. So I got a question. What do vampires drink? People. The answer is people.
They drink people.
They drink people. They straight up fucking eat people.
Brad Pitt lived off rats for a long time.
That's right.
Nobody's perfect. What a
He
werewolf
was also in a movie where he drank rats.
And her name is Angelina Jolie, by the way.
Oh,
what do werewolves eat?
People.
Okay.
Hearts specifically.
Where are all of these fucking people coming from in the small valley of Barovia?
When a bunch of people are sad and locked into their houses, all they do is fuck.
Welcome to 2020.
They don't have souls. They don't feel Yeah, this is fucking... My campaign idea is COVID-19.
So
everyone's self-isolated.
No,
fucking self-isolated.
All right, so you have this beautiful book that you've read a handful of times. You've played a campaign. You're here with new, maybe the same players again, and you come to Barovia, and Barovia is empty. It is a ghost town, and you are running a haunted house, but you have an entire valley in Barovia.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is ghosts and phantoms and apparitions. You find the desiccated corpses of werewolves that have been beheaded with silvered weapons, and the windmill is just absolutely horrific. It is poltergeist level of blood dripping down the walls, and like this whole thing is, the whole area is now completely and totally devoid of any semblance of life. And the gates that lead up to Castle Ravenloft are open, and the castle is empty. There's no one here. Walk around and see. And so here's the mystery. Here's what it comes down to. Our crazy mad mage character has teamed up with, let's say, Madame Eva.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their cult where they have systematically routed all of the monsters out by using decoys. And so they have burned down buildings. Strahd went in to get Irina, and they just burnt down the building with Irina in it.
Holy shit.
Took care of Strahd. It got dark. The bottom of the lake is full of corpses.
What?
And the temple has a chamber underneath where this mage and Madame Eva and a handful of surviving cultists are still there, trying to finish off and find a way to get released from here. Strahd died doesn't mean that the curse necessarily has to end.
Mm-hmm.
Or Strahd is still alive, and they are slowly draining him of blood, trying to cast dark magic with it.
Oh.
Holy shit. Well, you went next level, didn't you?
Well, that is the horror campaign that I want. You walk in thinking you're playing Curse of Strahd, and you are fucking not. This is the dark version. This is the darkest timeline of Curse of Strahd, right? Where Strahd lost. And here we go. Like, he is sitting there. He is awake. There is a stake that has not pierced his heart, but is resting against it. And every once in a while, someone just comes over and flicks the end of the stake just to watch his eyes go wide, and he screams as they do bloodletting ceremonies to try to get a portal out. Nobody knows killing Strahd will let them free.
Yeah.
Right? So, have abandoned empty buildings, rotten crops, right? You can't escape into the mist. Where did everyone go?
Not to mention all of the spiritless undead roaming in hordes.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have a legit zombie horde that is constantly moving. And if you've got any sort of divination or even just a ranger that's good enough, they would know where the horde is, and that you could track it on the map.
Yep.
So that you can't go to these areas at these times, and so on and so forth. But you would be able to set up your base in Castle Ravenloft.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
But it's also a haunted fucking castle. There are also catacombs underneath full of like mummified, desiccated corpses, and like that would be so dark and fun to play that campaign.
Yeah.
And it still fits Barovia.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like it.
My campaign idea for Barovia is to not play in Barovia.
Typical Dan.
No, I like the idea. You said that Barovia was the first of these demi-planes in the Shadowfell that were created by these.
I don't know if it was the first, but it's the primary one that we know of.
Right? I want to have a campaign where you were exploring these things, and it directly involves the influence of these Dark Lords and actually using them, figuring out who they are. And
I have a suggestion for that. If anybody's like, well, what do you mean? There's no notes.
Yeah.
Shazam. Because in the Rock of Eternity, they have the 7 deadly sins.
Yes.
I would have I would have the Dark Lords be the 7 deadly sins. Probably not going to go to the Realm of Lust. But you can think about like...
Well, if you think of like the Shadowfell being the negative side of everything, the Realm of Lust wouldn't just be a constant orgy, right? It would be...
Why do you have to ruin everything I love, Dan?
It would be desire unmet.
Well,
Right.
isn't that also avarice and gluttony and whatnot? Like, I feel like the three of those all go hand in hand. It's really
But
the same.
each of them would have their own demi-plane that you would have to kind of... You know how... spoilers for this. If you free Argynvost, the light kind of comes into Barovia. Was that a plot thread in your guys' campaign?
No, we literally rose him from the dead and rode him into battle.
Cool. Anyways, bringing light to Barovia, like bringing some sort of holy essence, bringing some sort of clarity, some hope into Barovia is a major plot thread through Curse of Strahd. Doing that for each of these different realms, and your party is...
I don't know, man.
Like the Mad Mage is always the one I go to. Who, spoilers, 3, 2, 1, Mordekainen.
What? No, seriously, we knew that.
Yeah, fucking it's like of the two people you should know. Anyways, having him create the doorways for you to get through to those places, and like he's kind of the one.
You can do that with Madame Even,
or Madame Eva,
or different doors in Death House,
or different doors in. Yeah, that just open up into a different plane. Right? There's so much you could do with it, and it's ripe with possibility for a nice, fun campaign.
That still sounds to me like we're going to the realm of lust, where everyone is like, I need, but I can't get, and so we provide hope by just throwing them a literal bone.
Well, no, you would have to match the tone that you've set with. You could run Curse of Strahd as the
set that tone.
No, you could run Curse of Strahd as it is, and then at level 10, when you have cleanse Curse of Strahd, instead of it becoming this, demi-plane that sucks in on itself and goes away because the curse is over, it is now light. Everyone gets their souls back. The world moves on to a better place. And you base Barovia as your, base of operations to go to these other places and liberate them. And you're basically building a country piece by piece, and these places just reappear on the material plane in the middle of the ocean somewhere, and you are putting them together.
Well, the spell plague wiped out entire parts of the map, so, and I mean, I know that technically Barovia was about 300 years before the spell plague, but you do what you need to do to make it fit. You could rebuild some of the Forgotten Realm.
You really could, yeah.
I love it.
Terry, do you have a last one?
Yeah, my last one is...
Can it be on the realm of lust? Like, this plane of lust is going to be the thing that I'm going to.
Sure, yeah. Whatever. Plane of lust is fine. I basically just wanted to flip it in that you've been brought to Barovia to be employed by Strahd, to protect Strahd, because the citizens are uprising. It's all torches and pitchforks, or it's clerics coming, or devas are getting involved, or something, and your role for Strahd, you can have your bits. What?
Is there a Frankenstein-level monster in Curse of Strahd?
No, there's no flesh golem as far as I know.
There needs to be.
There should be, right?
We can do it. There's no reason why not. But you can have your base of operations again within Ravenloft.
More importantly, the plane of lust should be on top of a
God
mountain.
fucking no.
Should be on the top of a mountain, because that way the plane of lust has the Mile High Club.
Fair one.
Because it's a plane of
He's not
lust.
going to. He's not going to.
It's fucking
drop
Dan.
this.
I'm talking about fucking. Dan.
No, you don't need to maintain that hard eye contact with me when you say the word fucking.
Bumpling gothic uglies.
Bumpling?
Bumpling.
Bumpling gothic uglies.
Goddamn right.
Getting nuts deep in goth guts.
God damn
That's it for this week's episode on Barovia. Unless anybody has any final thoughts, because that was mine.
End this shit now. God damn it.
Okay. So here's
If you say the words plane of lust one more time.
There's got to be a joke about, because it's, okay, I'm thinking religion, vampires, priests, lights out missionary. There's something there.
I don't know, man. I'm having none of it. Okay, no. So here's my thought. My final thought on Barovia. I like it as a setting more than I like it for Curse of Strahd. I like Curse of Strahd. I do. I don't think they delivered on what they could have with horror.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And there are a lot of... The Plane of Sloth would suck. Everybody shows up and is just kind of sitting there.
Yep.
Maybe not the 7 Deadly Sins.
No, I think there is a way you could flavor them so that they work very well. I like the idea of the 7 Deadly Sins.
Anyway, no, my big thing about Barovia is that there are a lot of different ideas. You're talking about there's no there's no Frankenstein monster. There's also no creature of the Black Lagoon, and you could very easily bump up a Sawajin to come out of the lake, right? To be some creepy, like go to the old Universal monsters, right?
Yeah.
And really, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hydra. No? No? All right. So
Jekyll and Hyde type character in general just needs to be in there, right?
yeah, and that can just be your solo werebear who just happens to be evil.
Yeah.
And everyone's looking to the werewolves that, but it's just the baker
Yeah.
who fucking knows it too. And every once in a while just drinks that potion that turns him into a werebear for the next 7 hours.
Yeah.
One of the most horrifying things is like the Invisible Man you could pull on.
Yeah, you've got
the
Phantom
Mummy.
Stalkers. Yeah, you literally have Mummy Lords.
You literally have Mummy Lords,
yeah.
right? Like, for me, I go to like movies, like go to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, pull from that as well.
Well,
like
the Universal Monsters.
and the Universal Monsters, yeah. But like, you could go. There's a great white decaying whale in the river to the north as well, and just go with like that Jules Verne feel as well.
Oh,
Yeah, well, I like to... Okay, I'm going to say a word, and I need you guys to just move past it, okay? And the word is organist. Are we done? Can we move forward? Because I'm going to go right back to the plane of... Nope, okay, so
That's my porn name.
you could have...
He's going to tell a story about a 12-inch pianist.
You could have a Phantom of the Opera style
yes.
character
Holy shit.
that lives in the catacombs and just plays organ music for Castle Ravenloft.
Yeah.
And Strahd knows shit is up when the music stops. Right? Like, there's a lot of shit you could do. That,
full, like, Grimtail, like, Sleepy Hollow type shit.
yeah,
Headless
absolutely.
Horseman.
Where's the Headless Horseman running around throwing pumpkins at people?
100%.
Yeah, he's getting that jack-o'-lantern right off his shoulders and he's throwing that.
Yeah.
And just like, that's a lot of fun. I want to see more of this, and we're not getting it. We should have a ghost ship on that fucking lake. The Mary Celeste. The Flying Dutchman should hover 100 feet above the lake.
I love it. I need some Van Helsing, Kate Beckinsale in there as well, if we can.
That's a different kind of game.
Okay.
That's the plane of lust again.
Yeah.
Plane of lust, plane of lust. Dan, final thoughts before we wrap this sucker up.
Honestly, Adam, I'm going to echo these feelings here where they tried to do a thing and just missed the mark.
I get it.
Right?
Missed the mark.
Yeah, because vampires.
Yeah. But
Because the mists of fucking Barovia.
Do you know what saved them, in my opinion, is the physical boundaries. They missed
Yes.
the mark, but because there's physical boundaries, everybody just went, I'll just fucking do it my way. It's
Yeah.
fine. Nobody's getting out, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Do what we want.
That's the other thing too. Like, I really do feel like that Barovia needs to feel environmental and thematic all of the time.
Yeah.
If you're just having another session of D&D in Barovia, you're not doing it right. There needs to be murders of crows that make no noise, that are thousands strong, that blot out the parts of the sky and shit, right?
Or you hear a murder of crows, but you do not see them.
Yeah, there always needs to be
Tapping on your door.
some voice calling out from the mists in the woods. You should never get a good night's sleep if you're on watch. If you take watch that night, you know that you're going to see or hear some horrific shit. You're going to look up across the campfire and see yourself looking back. Mm-hmm. And you're going to blink and it won't be there anymore. And there should just be shit like that all the time.
Just like, or you're on watch and you meet an NPC. It's just a ghost that you don't know.
Yeah.
You just have a whole role play interaction, goes away, and then the whole thing in the morning. But he's been dead for 20 years.
Oh, not even that. He just comes up. Next night, someone else is on watch. He shows up at the same time and does it again.
Yeah.
He does it again. And every time they come on this road that they're going to be on a lot, every time they do it, he shows up and he has the exact same interaction over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Just some generic platitudes and then moves on. You got to be careful tonight. It looks like it's going to be unreasonably cold. And then he just moves on. And then the next night it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Same phrase, same way, and he just keeps moving on. You see the lantern coming. But if you go find the lantern before he's at this place, it's a will-o-wisp.
Yeah.
But in this area, he's a ghost with a lantern, right? Like, shit like that.
That's so cool.
We gotta think about horror for Barovia, and it's all in the environment theme.
Sitting on top of your cart buggy thing, like Polar Express, with the little fire and stuff like that. Yeah.
I am so fucking into this. I also just want there to be like Cthulhu monsters moving in the mist.
Yeah, I'm like, why are we not having Cthulhu and Old God?
Well, because it's the Shadowfell, and that's not what the Shadowfell is. The Shadowfell, that's what the Outer Realms are.
Yeah, but the Shadowfell is a echo plane. It is a
Of the prime material
of
plane.
the prime material plane. So if you're going to have cultists of
But Barovia specifically is a demi-plane where there's one way in and out. You're not necessarily having elder gods walking about.
yeah, but once you weaken that barrier after solving the Strahd problem, Cthulhu coming in and being like, "Oh, look, a nice little home for me," and that's your next leg, works. Having a whole thread of Nyarlathotep or going off of those Lovecraftian monsters, right? It fits the theme. It fits the tone very well.
Yeah. That's it for this week's episode on Barovia. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as dozens of other podcast apps. You can also find us at www.itsamimic.com or email us at info@itsamimic.com. Thanks for listening to the It's a Mimic podcast, and make sure to check us out on next week's episode when we're covering half-orcs and orcs as playable races.
Nope, you gotta do that one again where we're covering halflings.
Thanks for listening to the It's a Mimic podcast, and make sure to check us out next week when we're covering halflings.
You've reached the end of another episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. Connect with us at itsamimic.com. Don't forget to subscribe and hit those share buttons. Thanks for listening, and see you next week.
Dan, would you rather be a vampire or a werewolf? Same question to Adam.
Oh, werewolf.
Do you understand how this show works?
Oh, do we roll dice?
You fuck.
I got an 8.
I got an 8.
I got a 3. You got an 18, Terry. You go first.
Oh, I'm the grey one.
We're wearing the same shirts as the dice.
That's right. I'm wearing the grey shirt. I'd rather be a werewolf, in all honesty.
Why?
A little bit more primal. I'm into it. Like, I feel like, and if you just wanted the fangs out, you just kind of 10% transform. A little bit.
Okay.
Just stick the fangs out.
If we're going to talk about 10% transform, what level of control are we talking here for werewolves and for vampires?
Well, how much control do you need? He asks the man with the furniture.
I think. Oh well, I want
All
full
of
control.
it.
I want full control, or I'm not doing it.
There it is.
I mean,
Name of my sex tape.
There it is. Yeah.
I'd agree with you, but for me, the stereotypical view of like the Bela Lugosi, Dracula, and the fuck his name.
Did you mean Lugosi?
Lugosi.
Fuck.
Yes. And like the traditional Universal Wolfman. The idea of not really being held accountable to my evil actions because it's not really me as the Wolfman. Sure, man. Like I give me that night of freedom.
I think we just
Let me wake up naked in a field next to a bloody cow.
Again.
I think I know what you're going to do if the purge is ever real. I think you think that you won't, but I think that you will.
Go on a murderous rampage?
Yeah, 100%. Or something.
I've got a list.
Just start off. Just
Adam?
Vampires get minions.
Fair one.
Yep, there it is. That's all I need.
Man.
Minions. By the way, I have it from very good sources from a lot of people that have been telling me that the movement against pumpkin spice is just in full swing right now. There are about 30 people that are messaging me on a regular basis saying pumpkin spice is back, and we're raging against it and telling our friends. So, minions.
This is
I
what
will
I'm
be a
talking
vampire.
about, Adam. There's concentration camps in China, and we've got a movement, an online movement against pumpkin spice lattes. If you don't like them, don't fucking drink them.
If you can topple this capitalistic idea of the pumpkin spice latte, we'll get to it. This is just phase 1.
Yeah.
All right. By phase 8, we're dismantling concentration camps, and by phase 11, we're gonna get Dan some hair plugs for the top of his head.
That'll never happen.
Fair one. And by the way, people, if you're in this movement, I don't know if you are fucking aware of how marketing works, but Starbucks wants nothing more than for you to do hashtag pumpkin spice latte all over the internet. You are literally their best friend right now.
No. What we're doing is we are saving the jack-o'-lanterns.
Oh.
That is what this is. It has nothing to do with pumpkin spice latte. That's just basic bitch bullshit that they're spoon feeding the average person. This comes down. This goes after
I
the
would love
credits,
to have
right?
pumpkin pies spoon fed to me by basic bitches.
Yeah,
I'd rather have basic bitches spoon fed to me inside a pumpkin pie.
no.
Whoa.
I'm telling you, it starts with the pumpkin spice latte, and it's all gone downhill. And I'm telling you that it marks the end. The last time that the economy crashed, the recession was also when the pumpkin spice latte became popular.
Really?
Yes, Are the two things related? I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no.
Thank you for listening to an It's a Mimic production.
Okay, you're done. Get it.